I start? Senator, the Ryan plan is one of the things that people are interested in these days. Have you had a chance to really look at it in any great detail?
Yeah, I'd say I'm reasonably familiar with it.
If it crossed your desk tomorrow, would you vote for it as is?
I've already voted for it twice.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a comprehensive plan that would lead to much stronger economic growth than what we're having now, and it would save Medicare and Medicaid, both of which are, in President Obama's own words, unsustainable. So it's a very thoughtful, comprehensive approach. You know, are there ways to improve individual items in something as broad and sweeping as a 10-year budget resolution? Sure, I'm sure there are. But it's very, very constructive. It would solve our fiscal problem and have us with much stronger economic growth and job creation.
What are your thoughts on Romney's choice for VP?
I think it's a terrific choice. Paul Ryan is just a very, very bright, capable, dedicated public servant. I've known him since he was first elected to Congress in 1998. He is very, very hardworking. He's also very courageous. You know, he's put ideas out that has all kinds of political risk for him, but he knows it's the right thing to do. You can always count on Paul to do the right thing. I think also, and here's maybe the biggest thing that I'm encouraged about, I think by selecting Paul Ryan, Governor Romney has made it clear that his campaign and his administration is going to be about the big ideas that we need to solve our country's challenges, to get us on a sustainable fiscal path and have the strong economic growth we need. He is not going to waste his time being mired in the trivial little things that, frankly, President Obama has been harping on. This is going to be about how we get our country moving again, and that makes it a great choice.
Senator, is it true, I guess there's been a lot of demagoguery about this, you're saying. Essentially, is it going to change what Medicare is for people under 55? Is it essentially a voucher system?
It's not a voucher system at all, but here's what it would do. First of all, you're right to point to the age limit. Anyone who's over 55 will never see anything any different. Mm-hmm. But younger people, like me, I'm not 55 quite yet. Getting there pretty rapidly, but not quite there yet. I would have a series of choices, one of which would be traditional fee-for-service Medicare, exactly as it is now, if that's what I want to take. Mm-hmm. But it would introduce a new set of choices that are not available today. And many of us, myself included, think that in a competitive world where there are a lot of choices available, some of those choices are going to be better than what's available today, and so some people are going to take those choices. In the process, we're also going to find ways to deliver health care more efficiently and more affordably. That's going to have savings. And as I mentioned while I was in my comments earlier, I think it's reasonable to ask very wealthy Americans to pay a little bit more in premiums and co-pays for the Medicare that they get. Mm-hmm. So this is a combination that will allow Medicare to be there for my generation and my kids. The president has said that in its current form, Medicare is not sustainable. He's right about that. What he's wrong is in not offering an alternative, a plan that would sustain it.
We have time for two more.
Okay, can I ask, what are your thoughts on the voter ID law in Pennsylvania?
Well, you know, I don't serve in the state legislature, so I don't pretend to be an expert on it, but just as a common sense matter, it doesn't seem unreasonable to me to make sure that people are who they say they are when they cast a vote. It's going to determine how our state and government, our country, are governed. You need an ID to drive a car, to get on a plane, to do any number of things. I think it's reasonable to ask for an ID in this context as long as we make it readily available for people to obtain the IDs that they need.
What do you think is the answer for creating more jobs in Pennsylvania and boosting the state economy?
Well, I think some of the misguided policies from Washington are the reason we have a really weak economy and we don't have enough job creation. Specifically, we've got this unsustainable fiscal policy where we're running literally trillion-dollar deficits every year. We have the threat of huge tax increases. We have an avalanche of excessive regulation. This is all self-inflicted wounds. This is the federal government creating a huge disincentive to start a new business or expand an existing business or hire a worker. So I think what we need to do is fix those things. Let's avoid a huge tax increase, and better still, simplify the tax code and make it a fairer, simpler, more honest system. Let's get our fiscal house in order so that people don't have to worry about huge tax increases and inflation and the other problems that come with too much borrowing. And let's repeal the regulation that's making it unaffordable to hire a worker. I would advocate that we repeal Obamacare, repeal Dodd-Frank. This is a misguided bill. And you heard, if you were in the conversation earlier, people stand up and talk about the problems that they are confronting with other regulators. We just need a sensible and constructive regulatory body, people who want to help companies comply, not go in and play gotcha and punish people.
Okay, Rick, I know you had one final question. You can do that real quick.
Yeah, kind of a philosophical question. No one has more conservative credentials than you do, and yet you manage to work with the other side, which you don't see a lot of these days. How can, I think a lot of people don't have a lot of respect for Congress these days because they see it as being intractable. How can people start working together to get things done?
There's no simple answer.
I've heard you say you were frustrated many times.
Oh, I'm very frustrated because I think there are times when I know that people in Congress would like to do something, but they're under political pressure not to, and they don't. And that's really, that's upsetting to me. But I reach across the aisle all the time. I have a very constructive working relationship with Senator Casey, despite the fact that he's a Democrat and we disagree on most policy. I work closely with Democrats to pass the Jobs Act. I routinely work with Democrats on policies wherever I can. There's some things where we're not going to agree, but whenever we can do something that's constructive, even if it's not perfect, I want to make progress.
Great. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank
good
you.
luck.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks very much.
Thank you so much. That would have been impossible.
Yeah.